I'm calling it now. It's basically just another like summer update, but they're not going to call it a summer update. We're getting hats, unusuals, maybe a couple of maps, no comic, no bot fix. And look, I've parroted these points before, and I'm the negative guy. I'm sorry, but I'm not excited. So up until now, I say fuck Valve. Get ready to spend $249, guys. I just want to qualify by first saying that this video was intended to release about a week after my previous video came out, which would have been more timely, would have been more topical and made more sense. But you know, chemistry and other classes like that kind of got in my way. So sorry, it's coming out a little late. Thanks to Samwiz, because he kept telling me to actually put this intro because he loved the intro so much. So thank you, Samwiz, for kind of pushing me to fucking just release this. So here it is. Here's my response video to what happened. Valve backpedaled, and I called it out in my previous video, saying that it was going to be basically just bullshit. And first of all, before we really get started here, I want to step back from the position I've been taking publicly, which has been pretty negative and pretty, pessimistic over the last couple of years, because it's been so long now. But I wanted to create an actual forum to discuss the news and not just a shit slinging fest, and I told you so. Even though it is kind of an I told you so, but it's not a happy one. No one wants to tell you so when it's something like this. I want to talk about the positions people might have taken and what it can mean for the future of this game. And I will not be forcing my opinion upon you, and you should not simply absorb mine. If you agree with it, great, but don't just be riled up at what I say. Take what you can from this video and form your own position. The first point I want to talk about, I think the most important first subject here to talk about is, did this count as a promise from Valve? The last major, with air quotes, update that made improvements to the game and wasn't just a bunch of crates was the Blue Moon update back in 2018, from what I understand. The majority of updates or patch notes have been occasional blog posts like Rick May's death or like the Insomnia 2019 release. No real communication with the fans about what may come to the future of the game. That's kind of like what's been going on, just kind of little blurbs here and there of nothing really important. But the key word there is communication. After years and years of only creating seasonal crates and skins, and after the Save TF2 hashtag went #1 on Twitter, I expected something, like anything, to be in the works. Anything. But no, it's just gonna be another seasonal update and another seasonal crate, which I guess it's better than nothing. They aren't even making the stuff themselves. It's you guys making the stuff, and they'll make a shiny little penny off of it, so that kind of sucks. But to be fair, they might fix a couple of bugs. They might actually have, again, the community fix bugs, if that kind of puts the writing on the wall for you. They won't even have themselves creating bug fixes. It'll be you guys. So what does that really mean? They're taking fixes from the community. Do they not test and tweak things themselves? I think that basically implies that their team doesn't even have the will or manpower, one or the other or both, to do the basic upkeep of a game. When you're asking the community to make your fixes and you're a multi-billion-dollar company, I know we're turning dead horse into powder here. I know that people work on TF2, the only people that want to do that, but if you can't get a team together to at least fix a couple of bugs, I mean, how long has it been since we couldn't vote, for the next map in casual? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. What does that say? What does that say when they're aware of something like that and they just don't fix it because they can't or they won't? Either way, it's pretty fucked up. I'm curious what you guys think about whether or not this was a promise, whether or not Valve has the right to just tell people to make all this stuff for them and just re-release it. I don't know what you guys think about that. This does bring up the second question. What is it that TF2 and its fans deserve, in air quotes? I get this sentiment from a lot of people that the game is 15 years old now. There is no other reason besides its generic popularity to really support this game. The only really thing keeping it up is community. A community and kind of like internet zeitgeist fame. And realistically, guys, updates cannot come forever. It's the old adage, you know, all good things must end, of course. But there's support and third-party servers and client stuff for sure. But content, any support after basic upkeep would be silly to expect in the deeper future. There's no way you could keep pumping major updates into this game after some point, you know? What we expect is upkeep, you know, making sure the servers run well, the items are doing all right. But we're not going to be getting new weapons, if ever again, maybe a couple of times, you know, like new concepts, which there are out there, but there's a limit to how much you can put in a game, you know, what you can throw into it. I think it comes from a lot of people who at least understand what it is to work in the industry. So I don't necessarily disagree, because it is true that you can't continuously update this game, but what is it that we do deserve? How far should these updates and releases go is the real question here. And then we get to the reactions and mentalities of other players in the game itself. I recently, well, not recently, at the time that this was relevant, I made a post that stated my opinion that I believe that buying crates would only encourage and enable Valve to keep doing this, which I believe is abusive slash manipulative behavior behind Team Fortress 2, and that we should simply boycott them and not buy the crates at all. And other people disagreed, and some people argued that any update, no matter what, is better than nothing at all, and that we're lucky that we're even getting any attention to begin with. The reason for that is that they pointed out that TF2 isn't necessarily a cash cow for them. It's not the fattest cow on the farm, you know what I mean? And not buying the crates wouldn't necessarily really affect the wallets at Valve, and I think they're right to a pretty good extent. They're right, because TF2 does make them a lot of money, like, you know, generally speaking, for what kind of game it is, and for how long it's been out. But they're a multi-billion-dollar company, and they make plenty of money from Counter-Strike, Dota, and a bunch of their hardware programs they've been releasing recently, and they're cut from the games sold on Steam, so they have absolutely no pressing and dire monetary incentive to support Team Fortress 2, even though it wouldn't even really put a dent in their wallets if they didn't. So you could take the opinion that by the grace of Valve we're even getting anything to begin with. You know, we're kind of like the guys on Kevin's fan club from SpongeBob sitting at the bottom of the ditch, just anything that they'll toss our way is a blessing, you know? That's kind of the mentality, and I can understand that. I really can. And that raises the idea of ethics and morality. Does Valve owe the people who play and support the game? Do they need to give back to them? And if so, to what level? What do these people deserve? Do they owe us SFM shorts? Do they owe us a comic? Do they owe us hats? Do they owe us a bot fix to make the game playable? To what level would be amends for the kind of respect and attention we've given this game? TF2 is likely one of the first games a PC gamer will play, free on the parent platform. Currently, the noob experience will be the hellscape that is a late state bot crisis crate TF2, but people will still be playing this game. There's always going to be an influx of new players simply because it is free, it is on PC, supported by the platform that it is on, Steam, Valve. This game will never truly be dead. There will be players. It's just that it won't be the same. You know, it's not going to be like logging in 2011. It's never going to be like that again. I took more of a doomer position, but I used to expect a lot more after the drought, and there was some hopium, like maybe Valve really had something up their sleeve, especially seeing this little update, you know, before they changed it. But this fiasco they just pulled off, like, really just put a sour taste in my mouth. I mean, I know maybe it was just some intern that fucked up the wording, and they never intended to say that, but regardless, man, it's like you're starving for a month, and you catch a whiff of a sandwich, and someone's like, oh, my bad, you weren't meant to smell that. It's like, man, you know, like, why? You know, just, it really sucked to have this happen, and to be proven right, even though, you know, it's not fun to be the right guy when it's like something really pessimistic and fucked up. The comments were hilarious, don't get me wrong. Thank you for the comments, but I am right, but at what cost is basically the position. But other people out there have taken the positive position. For example, Shork, because Shork had responded to a couple of things on Twitter, so I reached out and we had a conversation, and Shork pointed out that after many years of silence, Valve confirmed that they wanted to do better, and they began to tackle the bot issue to an extent behind the scenes, and they have made some progress, because it doesn't really make sense to tell people what you're doing to combat the bots, because then they'll have a leg up on bringing back the bots and getting around these security features. Putting what has happened in this game into perspective is really important. Taking a supportive position and being positive now that Valve has communicated to us, the people, and come forward with a solid update, people need to be taking a positive and encouraging position, and it would be better than being angry and spiteful that this update is going to be as big as we expected it to be, which is something they never fully promised. Shork, again, makes a really good point. I agree with him, considering he's been around a lot of the TF2 world, all over the world nowadays, doing a really great job of almost being like an ambassador for the community. It's a solid position to have where it is better to be hopeful in the situation, to try to encourage Valve versus just being a rambunctious, kind of ungrateful group, which again, even just saying that could piss people off. I understand that because I kind of like that. It's better to be positive because then Valve will be like, well, they love us, they want more stuff, versus just being angry like, what, this isn't what we wanted more. They'll be like, well, you know what, fuck it, we don't really care anyways. That is a position that Shork explained to me, which I think does beat out being a negative Nancy kind of sour grapes kind of person. So I mean, yeah, take that and make sure you really sip on that, because Shork is right about that. People are getting angry now that Valve is doing what they want them to do, communicating and planning an update. People should tone back on the anger and mob mentality and view this as an opportunity to see what Valve really could do. Being angry and throwing a fit may very well discourage any future support. I mean, who's gonna want to reward the kid who's throwing a tantrum over being given something, like it just kind of like doesn't feel right. And I personally can understand the resentment and feelings of being ignored by Valve. Trust me, I can understand that. And I came out very strongly and negatively on YouTube and on Twitter, in which it is good to vent your emotions and feelings. Yeah, it may very well not have been the most productive way to go about things. So I can see that now. I stand by a lot of stuff I said. It's just the way you say it can be pretty catalytic, I guess is the right word. The future is very uncertain, and we don't know how long we're going to have with this game and the community that revolves around it. We don't know how long that's going to last. And it's true to state that we're lucky that we are in this game and that it's come this far, how many years it's been and all the stuff we've gotten and the community we have around each other. And it's also foolish to think that this game can go on forever. We most likely won't be playing this in our 50s, but if we are, make sure you come back to this video and prove me wrong and comment, haha, you were wrong. I'll make sure to eat those words in 30 years of it, when 30 years come by. But like all things must come to an end. With that said, people must take things into perspective, and that's the biggest idea here. What this game is, what it means to so many people, and how far it can realistically go, and having to eventually move on, guys. It's okay to look at TF2 and enjoy it. Don't look at it like growing up. That implies immaturity, growing out of the game, The best possible ending, I guess you could say, for this chapter in gaming would be to give TF2 sort of like a last hurrah, like a last big update, and end it all with a bang. Sort of like a thanks for playing update, Wrap up the comic, give us a couple of weapons, a couple of maps, overall balancing, and then just sort of try to tie up the story nicely, and put a bow on it, because I'd be okay with that as long as we reached a consensus like this is it, then they give us something great. Preserving TF2 in a functioning and positive way would also be fantastic, and I'd rather see that than watching it slowly wither away and become something that none of us recognize, with just bot swarms and exploits and stuff like that. Of course, all of this stuff is just my opinion, and at the end of the day, it's up to the individuals who take part in this community. Are you a negative Nancy or a positive Polly? That's all I really have to say about that, so let me know what you guys think below. Let's hear your positive, negative takes. I know it's been, at this point, from recording, over a year since the tweet from Valve has come out, which is kind of like giving the negative side plenty of fuel. But then again, the summer update should be coming out pretty soon, so it's kind of like very turbulent to see what's going to happen. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, whether or not we're getting something good for summer, whether or not we deserve something better. Just look at the chapters we've discussed here and just kind of like your general opinions, because I want to know what you guys think and how you guys feel about these things. Otherwise, we made a major update to TF Talk. I don't know if I talked about it earlier, the podcast coming out just just need a new microphone, and I just need to work out some software audio kinks to the software, because for some reason the audio is coming through kind of weird. I think it's just a mic thing, but I need to get a new mic. Two of the major things that were causing problems that I posted on Twitter were, one, I had a health issue, like kind of like a health thing I had to take care of, and I'm still working on it. You know, it's nothing major. I'm not gonna die, knock on wood. Let me just kind of knock on wood there. But, you know, I gotta change a bit of what I do and how I do it. But it's nothing major. I'm fine. You wouldn't know it from looking at me. I'm chilling. And second of all, the IRS wants to kill me. It's been a meme and a joke going around in my community for a while that that I evade my taxes. I do not evade taxes. I pay my taxes when I have to. But a family member of mine and myself have the exact same name. So they believe that a certain person's salary was also my salary, but unreported. So they claimed I owe them up to $18,000, which is going to kill me. I do not have the means to pay that, because that is not what I owe. I have been battling for years, and I have been advised by different legal counsel to take different actions. Currently, I am in a financial pit. Not of my own fault when it comes to employment, wages. The IRS kind of has like me around a tight leash, and they will wait until I prove myself innocent before I can get my money back. So yeah, that's great. Love America, where they just accuse you of not paying your taxes and then strangle you to death based financially. So I am just trying to make ends meet right now, guys. So it is summer though, so expect some stuff pretty soon. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Samwiz, for encouraging me to just put this out. And thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in whatever is the next one, whatever the fuck I feel like. I've been in like a real life grind, guys. Sorry I'm not terminally online, you know, so we can discuss that later. Hop by a stream if you can. Twitch.tv/RubberMango. I'm active there from time to time, or just follow me on Twitter and the TF Talk Twitter. Thanks for stopping by, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one, I hope.